He kōna e purangi tēnei nā te reo irirangi o Aotearoa.
I grew up in the south. I'm from Rio Grande Do Sul. If you see the Brazilian map, is the very first state right on the bottom, you know. My hometown is actually 60 km from Uruguay. And my family from my mom's side, they were from Uruguay. That's where the Morales comes from.
Hi, this is Back to Basics with me, Kadambari. That's Henrique Morales, with whom we're exploring his world of music today.
The music that we listen in the south of Brazil and also that we produce as musicians has a lot of influence especially from Argentinian music.
Born in Rio Grande do Sul, Henrique came to New Zealand in 2007. He's since played with bands like Batucada Sound Machine as a guitarist, and today performs and sings regularly all across Auckland and beyond.
Brazil is so diverse because it's quite big, and we have borders over a lot of countries in South America. So each state that you go in Brazil has a different accent, has a different influence. So, for example, for gaúchos, which it's how we call people from Rio Grande do Sul. So for gaúchos to either speak Spanish or at least understand Spanish, it's fairly normal. So I guess that also brings some influence to the music, you know.
That's his music you're hearing in the background. He tells me he doesn't like putting a label on it, but the sound of his childhood was a mix of all sorts, and it filters through. The borders of Brazil and the south meld into the neighboring countries, Uruguay and Argentina. And culturally, it's always been a really porous region. This is the region of the gauchos, the cowboys and the farmers.
The gauchos' regional music, which is more like country music. So basically, they call, in Argentina and Uruguay, which it's basically part of the Pampa region, in Rio Grande do Sul is part of the Pampa region.
That's the vast grasslands
Yes,
where cattle are raised.
Exactly. So all those people, they are called gauchos. But in Brazil, we say gaúcho, which is exactly the same spelling, just the pronunciation is different. Back in the days, we used to listen a lot of what they call in Argentina folklore, Argentinian folklore. One massive expression of that sort of culture was Mercedes Sosa.
Of course.
That's the type of music that we used to listen a lot. But in Argentina, they have the rock and roll scene, which is it's quite interesting. They have a lot of artists in there, which we also listen in South of Brazil, you know. Artists like Fito Paz or Charlie Garcia, you know, so that's what it is. And apart from all of that, I used to listen to a lot of Brazilian music, which is like MPB. MPB stands for Música Popular Brasileira, or Brazilian Popular Music, the other way around.
Uh-huh.
A lot of rock, international rock, like British and American.
Did you grow up in a very musical environment? Did your family play music, or?
That's a very good question, and yes, the answer is yes. Neither mom or dad were musicians, but they were very musical. And but my grandfather, from my mom's side, he was a musician.
Okay.
So our house was a very musical, was a highly musical environment. My grandfather was always playing at home, and like any gatherings, like, you know, barbecues, whatever, he was always playing, you know.
What instrument did he play?
He used to play a few instruments. He used to play, he was a self-taught, so he used to play guitar and accordion, but also there is this instrument, which I believe is originated from Germany, which is called bandoneon, and that's used to play tango, you know, Argentinian tango.
Okay.
Yeah, it's similar. It's a type of accordion, but it's actually not an accordion. It's bandoneon.
Is it a smaller one?
It's a smaller one. It's like a squared one. It's such a beautiful sound. My grandfather used to play that very well, actually.
A lot of that sort of musical influence came to the southern region and further from the European polka that immigrants brought with them. Henrique, though, took to the guitar.
I started playing when I was 8 years old. By the age of 11, 12, I was already going to big festivals and stuff with older musicians. Sometimes in the beginning, my mom and dad, they used to come with me, to support and to be there. But then, things were different back then, so they were like, "No, it's okay. You can go with them. We trust them. They're nice people." So I used to travel actually with other musicians.
You started really young.
To play festivals, yes.
Is that common?
I think nowadays it's probably more common than back then. Sometimes I have, sometimes I just have a riff in my mind and that evolves into something else. Some of the times I have just a rhythm pattern or some sort of groove that I think about a chord progression, and every time I'm trying to create something, before I start, in my head, everything sounds very similar, But I guess that happens to a lot of people. So everything sounds similar and everything sounds too Brazilian for my likes,
You can't escape it though, can you?
I know, yeah, but sometimes you wanna go into, you wanna tap into other territories, And then it's like, oh my gosh, this Brazilian never leaves me.
And do you find that people start to expect it out of you then when you sort of realize that, hang on, this is an identity that I can't escape from musically or otherwise?
100%. I've been part of a few projects in the music scene in Auckland,
He's released one album so far, but for him, what New Zealand seems to offer is a chance to collaborate with a lot of different musicians. And he's been doing that since he arrived in 2007.
Not sure if you remember the Kiwi band Batucada Sound Machine. And so I used to play and perform with them for about 4.5 years, more or less. It was between 2008 and 13. And it was always like that, and I was always saying, like, guys, I can also sing in English, and you don't need to look at me just as a samba player. Let's put it this way. But it's hard to escape that, actually.
And over all these years, Henrique has seen things change a whole lot for musicians from overseas who come to New Zealand.
I think there were more live music venues back then. I think the music scene was a little bit busier than now. Of course, I think, given the time and given the amount of Brazilian musicians that came already to New Zealand during this time, I would be silly not to believe that the understanding has got bigger. The understanding about Brazilian culture and Latin culture. Let's put it this way: if all the music venues and stuff that was happening back then, that was still happening now, I'm pretty sure the understanding and the culture itself would be much bigger now. I would love to see the music scene booming in New Zealand. And when I say booming, of course, I'm thinking about Latin and Brazilian culture and world music in general, New Zealand is far away from everything. Second thing, it's a small country, so that's what I noticed along these almost 20 years living here, It's not very interesting for established musicians to come from overseas, and I'm talking about Brazilians and Latin in general, not rock players or pop players, because that's a different genre, and the language is actually makes it's a helper, in a way. But from other people like us, Brazilians or Latins, whatever, come from another country to New Zealand, there's not a big scene. It's far from everything. And why would you come here if you can maybe go to the States or go to Europe? And
it's a bigger market, bigger audience, yeah.
Yes. So that's what I would love to see in more venues and more festivals and more options. But it's spread across all the genres,
Henrique Morales talking to me for Back to Basics on the Here Now podcast. You can catch all the episodes of the podcast on all your favorite podcast platforms, as well as on the RNZ website and on RNZ National. Today's episode was mixed by Jeremy Ansel, and my name is Kadambari. Eu faço samba por todos os amores que